Today we are talking The Testaments, episode 9. Welcome to Screens in Focus. I'm Diana. Sam is here. Hi, Sam. How's it going?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. And I am set to talk about this episode with you.
So psyched.
I know this penultimate episode gave us a death, and a big one at that.
hmm
And Becca's shocking choice changed everything. And honestly, I had no idea what was going to happen next.
Mm-mm.
I was like worried in the moment. I thought Becca might completely unravel, and that's what I was afraid of. I mean, she actually did, but I thought it was going to go a different way. And I just found this episode so intense, so emotional, and full of people making choices in the name of protection. Before we dive into all of that, I would love to explore the question, when does protecting someone cross the line? So think about that, because I feel like this episode really pushed that idea in so many different ways, from Daisy to Becca to Aunt Lydia, Garth, all of them. So can't wait to break it down with you. But I do want to talk about Becca because it was huge.
hmm
And just learning what her father did to Agnes completely shattered her world. And even after he denied everything, you could see something shift inside of her. That bathtub scene, I was like holding my breath. I mean, Sam, what was going through your mind at that moment?
I was completely shocked. I didn't think she was going to kill him. I don't know. I just wasn't expecting that. I know she confronted him when they were at the dinner, and he like denies everything. And like you said, like you could still see like the wheels like spinning, and I could see like her like kind of like going like inside of herself, trying I think to like figure out what was true and what wasn't. And she goes like after Daisy, and Agnes has to like step in and like tell her the
Yeah.
truth, which is just heartbreaking. And she does it in like, she tries to do it in like the gentlest way, but I don't know how. You and I can't even imagine hearing that. Like you're trying to process one thing, and then you know you have to process a lot more.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, that is a lot to go through, right? Because here you have this girl that you already are jealous of
hmm
because of her relationship with Agnes. So you're already not liking her that much. And then you find out she's the one who accused your father of something. So I think when she was going after Daisy at that moment, it was more than just the one thing. I think it was a buildup of everything. But yeah, then it took Agnes to take her aside and to tell her the truth. Then you could just see that shift in her, right? That she was just didn't know what to accept and what was the next step. And all of us were like that too, because we had no idea what she was about to do.
hmm
And I love that, right? Because we didn't really know. When she
Mm-mm.
took her slippers off and was standing right at the before taking the first step, that was when I was like, oh my God, it felt very
hmm
ominous. Like, what is going to happen?
And like everything was dark and like shadow and all of that. And I think whenever she's going after like she's like attacking Daisy, that's it's a projection for sure, because that's easier to take your anger and your frustration out on a pearl girl and like not your dad. Like that's your dad. You could never do that. And
Yes.
like
Yeah.
I think she's really hoping that it'll just be like a misunderstanding, and like if she attacks her, maybe she'll admit that it didn't happen or something. I don't know what's going through her head, but like when she after like I watched it the first time, I went back and watched it a second time, and when she's like cutting the flowers or whatever, you can clearly see baby girl is disassociating in like every way possible. There's nothing on her face, there's no emotion. Even when she's like stabbing him, it's still just like, she's angry, but like, or there's like some force behind it. When she popped on like the Martha's like cloak, I was like, where is she going? I never thought it would be to Agnes's house. I thought she was just gonna like hightail it and try to like
I
just get
thought so
out.
too. I thought so
Yeah.
too. I thought I didn't know if she had put on a Martha outfit or not. And I thought, Is she going to the colonies? Is she going to
Mhm.
like hide in there somewhere? Or is she dressed as a Martha? Is she going to get on a bus and like take off? Like, is it going to go somewhere else? I don't know. I didn't know where she was going.
I
So
was like, is she
I,
gonna pretend to be a Martha now? Like, is that her path forward?
yeah. But it makes sense that she went to Agnes's after she was actually there, then it made sense. But yeah,
Hmm.
I had no idea where she was going initially.
And when like she gets to the house and Agnes sees what's on her like her nightgown, she's like, let's go take a bath. And when they're in the bath, not them together, but when you know, you can hear like they're like talking to each other. And Becca says that what she did was divine justice, and she did like the work of God. And
Yeah.
I mean, she grew up in Gilead, so like, is she wrong? Like, were they gonna do any different? Probably not. And we even hear like Commander Judd when he's talking to Aunt Lydia, and she tells him about Dr. Grove and yada yada. He's like, well, we haven't done a salvaging, or we
Yes.
could do a salvaging so the girls can get their pound of flesh.
What did
What?
that mean,
What?
really?
Probably chop off an appendage.
Huh. I
And I feel like
wondered.
maybe
I'm
like
like, what
each of the
does that
girls
mean?
could. So there was a movie. It's called The Gentleman, a Guy Ritchie movie, and
Yeah.
it's like a British gangster movie, and they like the whole thing. But the guy has to do
Yeah.
like a pound of flesh, and he quite literally like carves out a pound of his flesh, and with how literal like
Yes, you're
Gilead
right.
can be.
Exactly.
Oh, I don't know. I don't like it. But what I
Yeah.
thought was interesting about like the Becca, just all of that, is how hard her mom's trying to maintain appearances.
Yeah.
She's like, well, we can get steak for the wedding, or maybe we can get salmon. And the whole time I'm like, can you read the room, lady? Like, do you feel it? Like, poor Garth.
All of that.
All of
Oh,
it.
man. Well, I did want to say when you were talking about Becca talking about doing God's work, and she tells her he can't hurt you anymore. So it's like I did this for you. I
Hmm.
did this for you, Agnes. And he's not. I mean, that was what that's her whole world. So that's her perspective. That's where her love is at. And the fact that she loves Agnes more than anybody in this world is very interesting, right? Because that is like she is it feels unhealthy is what I'm trying to get at, right? And it is because she goes off the deep end, but at the same time, like you're right, she's following what Gilead has taught them. So
Hmm.
how it's wrong, we see it as wrong, but I don't know, like what you're right. What else are they going to do to him? They're going to do something to him, and they feel like they can do whatever it is, like an eye for an eye and all of that, just as we heard at the beginning. So what she really did well, it is worse because he's dead, but
Hmm.
how much worse is it? And she killed her father, but I almost feel that's why I said last week, I don't really even know if it's her father. I felt
Yeah.
like it's not because she feels like, oh, this is my father figure, but I feel like if you really loved your dad, because some people really love their dads and their dad is their everything. I mean, that's their little girl. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe it really wasn't her dad. But what I wanted to bring up was that the title of this episode,
Hmm.
it is entitled Marat Sade, and it actually connects to a real historical play. And it's about a revolution, control breaking down, and a woman killing a man in a bathtub. Very similar to what we saw with Becca and her father. I thought that that was so interesting. And it just frames her moment as part of something bigger. Like the system itself is starting to collapse under its own weight. So
Hmm.
I thought that that was a really perfect title for this episode that I had no idea what it meant. Okay, but all of this is started in motion because of Daisy. And she initially announces she has her period, which is major in Gilead, and everybody's thrilled. Aunt Lydia's thrilled. And then we get that dentist scene when Dr. Grove doesn't actually touch her, and Daisy decides to accuse him anyway. so much happened. So tell me, what did you think of Daisy's action in this episode?
I was really surprised that she decided to tell the aunts about her period because she had spent a lot of the last episode convincing like Shu not to say anything. And I guess I understand why she did that after, because she realized she probably thinks that there won't be anything done to him if she doesn't, you know, if there's no like
Yeah.
proof or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, so I was surprised, and I assumed that she was going to do something to alert the people of his like behavior, but I really thought it would have been after he had done like a thing to her. And I don't know. I don't like when you have to lie that kind of way to like get what you want,
Yeah.
because I don't think she really understood what she was doing, really understanding. She's been in Gilead for what, like a week, 2 weeks or
Yeah.
something, maybe a little bit longer, but like she doesn't really understand the system that she's like playing into. And because look what happened to Becca, like, and that wasn't her intention at all. And I noticed that this makes Agnes suspicious of her because she says you're not like the other, like you're not a Pearl girl, because the other girls would never do that. They would never do anything like to jeopardize their
Position or their,
yeah, or
yeah.
their potential to get a match or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Because she was willing to, she didn't really care how it reflected on her. And I just really wish that like she'd have done it a different way. But I understand why, because if not, then she's not going back for 6 months, you know, 6 to 10 months or something. And how many other girls is he going to assault? Because why didn't he assault her? You think because she's not like a kid of Gilead?
Probably.
Probably. And like, I don't know.
Maybe she's not as innocent as the other girls, and maybe that is his. I hate
Blech.
to even say
That's so
that.
gross.
I know it's really gross. It really
Yeah.
is.
Hmm.
But I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. And and unfortunately it is a reality too, because I think that is part of what gives Daisy her strength to do what she needs to do, because she gets it and she's not afraid to say, I mean, she's afraid, but she's not as afraid as the girls who grew up in Gilead to say what she did, because that moment when she came out, when he didn't do it, and then she had to like muster up uh how she would react. I mean, that was incredible work by the actress, by the
Hmm.
way, to do that. The way that she did it, and when she came out and she like dropped to her knees and she was praying and saying what he did. Oh my god, that was such a phenomenal performance, and I was in it with her. And I mean, one, she had to make it totally believable, and she was selling it. So I just thought that that was good. But you brought up a question I had myself about Agnes's reaction to her, because I kept saying, well, what does she mean? Like, what is she questioning? I really wasn't sure what she was questioning. I heard her say the word she did, like, you're not acting like other Pearl girls.
Hmm.
Like, they all want to fit in. I don't remember her exact words, but it was like, you don't care what happens after this. Like, you'll
Hmm.
accept the consequences of who you end up with or how it jeopardizes your um, position or your choices or whatever it is. But what do you think she was? Do you think that she was questioning who she was? Do you think she admired her? What did you think of that moment? What do you think was going through Agnes's mind?
I think she was probably a mixture of things, but I definitely think she was probably in awe of her bravery, and then also like terrified for her, the how like what's gonna happen to her, because you can see like there's a little bit of fear in there, and it wasn't like for herself.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it was a little bit of like awe and then like a little bit of fear, and like wanting to just, you could see her trying to like figure her out, like her eyes were
Yeah.
going back and forth,
Yes.
and like her brain's clearly like just going you know, she's thinking of things. I just hope she doesn't like go the other way and is against her now. Like I don't want like
Right.
Agnes to be mad at Daisy because of
Yeah.
what her like it's a chain reaction of things. Like what her one thing, like the butterfly flap, is now Dr. Grove is dead and Becca's taken by the eyes. Like I can see how Agnes would be upset by that.
It's so complicated. It's like
Hmm.
so many layers because everything affects everything else. And it's interesting because we see Daisy take this action only to protect the other girls, only to protect Agnes and Hulda. But then Becca acts on that. And then Becca has, her own consequences to deal with. Oh gosh, it's just, oh my God. That's why this
Duel.
episode is so full of so much because it's crazy. It's this and this and that. But she does say he hurt you. So she actually says that too. And it made me think so many people care about Agnes, right? Two people in this episode
Hmm.
do something life changing to themselves to protect her. That says a lot.
But that's like a lot of like unfair, like, like they're putting a lot of pressure on her. Like, hey, we did these things for you.
I
Wh-
know.
And now, like, Agnes is probably like, well, I have to do something with them now, maybe.
I
That's,
know.
oh,
Well, we're talking about Agnes already because this was emotionally heavy episode for her too in so many ways. So she has to tell Becca the truth. That was huge. That Daisy wasn't lying and that Dr. Grove harmed her. I mean, that is so hard to even say. And she says it with everything else. So, what did you think about her saying that aloud to Becca?
my heart just went out to her. She spends a lot of this episode trying to hold herself together while everything around her just keeps unraveling. Like, everyone else except for like our core group are just going about their day, like you see them looking out the window and they're doing whatever, and she just has to like trying to process all of this, and I can't even imagine because there have been no breaks. And her panic attack in her room, like it makes me so like upset and sad because she's such a like a sweet wonderful person who just has had all this stuff thrown at her. And I thought she was really brave for telling like the truth to Becca, because there's a world where where Becca, she doesn't believe Agnes and she thinks that she's lying to protect her, like her Pearl Girl, because she is
Yeah.
like she kind of like was jealous earlier in the episode or the episode before where she's like, do you have to always bring your Pearl Girl? But I feel like for Agnes, I think she's starting to finally feel the emotional fallout of seeing like how the people around her and how like where she lives in Gilead, like she's starting to see them a lot more like clearly, I think. Because you can see her at the end when she talks to Becca and says they're going to take you to a doctor. And the look on
Yeah.
her face whenever she realizes that they called the eyes instead. Like, I think it's going to be a huge, like, a wake up call that you can't necessarily trust your parents, I guess, because they're going to make their own decisions. And even though they're protecting her, I think, and themselves, I think she just is going to have a harder time.
Well, they called Garth, right? And Garth is the one that took the next step of whatever that was.
I think, isn't he always there, though? Yeah, he probably would have called. I think he lives like on their land.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, but maybe that's just like the process. Like if a person's killed, then you call the eyes.
I think what I wanted to bring up about Agnes is also that weight that you were talking about, that emotional weight. It impacts her physically because
Hmm.
she runs home and she has this emotional collapse and she's like hyperventilating that she has to like hold herself because it's just like And I felt for her. Like I said, everybody's doing everything for her. And what guilt she must have for all this. And that's even before, isn't that even before she knows? Yeah, even before
Yeah.
she knows what Becca does for her.
Mhm.
So it's so crazy. And I did feel bad for her when she did find out. She says, I thought you were calling to her parents after they did take Becca. She goes, I thought you were calling the doctor. That's what you
Mhm.
told me. And that's what she tells her. So now it looks like she betrayed Becca in Becca's eyes. So um I don't know. It was a very emotional episode, I thought.
Mhm.
All right. So one major thing that really stood out to me was how people are making difficult choices in the name of protection. Because Daisy lies to protect her friends and future victims. Daisy kills to protect Agnes. Aunt Lydia seems to be holding back. I feel like she's not really saying everything and she knows more than what she's saying. And Garth protecting his position at Mayday. Although he did look like he was, as soon as he was holding Becca down and then he gave him away, then he looked like he was like, damn,
Mhm.
what's happening? So it's questionable there, um, but I just really felt like everybody was working under protection in that theme. Did that theme stand out to you, or were there other themes that stood out to you?
No, I think that was like a pretty big like thing that I noticed was that everyone was trying to protect everybody. And it comes like I think in in all, like in all forms. Um, because in this episode we see when Agnes is talking to Becca about what happened, she's very, very careful with her wording because she knows it's going to devastate her and she doesn't want to like do that. And I think it when she's even protecting her when she says like, "Well, you were with Daisy. How did she seem?" And she's like, "She seemed distraught." And I thought
Uh-huh.
that that was just like she didn't have to say that, and I feel like that helps the case a little bit maybe. And then in a previous episode, we talked whenever they're at the Groves house for the engagement party. Garth mentions how he only really knows what his handler is telling him,
Yeah.
and that made me like really, because at the end of the episode, like you mentioned it like a little bit ago, he seems like, what, like, he probably knew what he was doing, but he probably has never, like, he's young, so he's probably never
Yeah.
witnessed the eyes before, and he probably is like, oh no, like that's not good or whatever. um but it got me thinking, that is, does his handler only tell him like the bare minimum to keep like him safe, so that way if he's ever caught, he doesn't really, well,
Right.
not to keep him safe, but to keep them safe.
Right.
And
Yeah.
like poor like Aunt Esty I felt like she was taking on all of the weight
Oh
of,
yeah.
can you imagine what her response is going to be when she figures out that like Dr.
Oh
Grove was killed by
yeah.
Becca? Like she's going to be inconsolable. Um but she apologizes like to Daisy, and we hear a voiceover. I'm pretty sure it's I don't I'm pretty sure it's Daisy talking, and she's like, it's really easy to forget that the ants are
Oh yes.
human,
Yes.
and I think that's way to protect themselves from how they like talk about them or how they treat them, because it's easier to be mean if a person's been like dehumanized or whatever. But we even see like Aunt Lydia and Commander Judd are kind of protecting like the girls a little
Yeah.
bit. Like they were going to punish Dr. Grove like after the wedding.
Right.
But that also made me question if they were ever even like going to do it, because I don't know. I don't know. Now we don't have to worry about it because he's dead, but um Um, and the eyes are technically they are there to protect like everyone, like the elite in Gilead from scandal. And they're just creepy as hell
Right.
though. I was like, why
Right.
are you doing that? That's
Yeah.
unnecessary.
Yeah.
Bunch of
That was
theater
a
kids.
I know. Yeah, theater kids. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, but it was like I like paused it and I was like, so I was
Yeah.
watching it in the dark too, so I was like, mm-mm. So cool though. Like what a cool scene.
It was a cool scene. I was going to say the same thing. I'm like, whoa, that looks so cool. Almost looked like something very fluid,
Yeah,
right? It was
it was
just
like a
very,
dance almost.
yes,
They kind of like
exactly.
it was almost like
Yes,
they were like
fanning.
floating.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. It probably took them a long time to do that. That was very, very cool.
Mhm.
I do want to say we do see justice versus vengeance also because of the whole eye for an eye
Mhm.
and Daisy's voiceover at the very beginning about Gilead's violent justice and saying like, "Oh, okay, taking it literally here now
Mhm.
because that's what they tend to do." Um, and it's just like these reckless ideas become easy to justify
Mhm.
because of where they're at. I also want to talk about some of the other key players in this episode because even outside of Becca and Daisy and Agnes, there was so much happening. I mean, Dr. Grove may be gone, but the impact of what he did shaped everything. And then there's Aunt Lydia, who we had talked about, and how um, she may know more than what she's saying. Like when she was talking to Daisy, she kind of said, she kind of questioned, "Oh, your dress, it's interesting how he ripped your dress, but she doesn't straight out say anything. I mean,
Mm-mm.
Daisy defends what she says and she just lets it go, but we know how smart Aunt Lydia is. So it's like, that's why I'm like, she knows more than what she's saying she knows.
But it's like a kindness that is
Yeah,
maybe not as typical for her to protect a person that's like that.
right.
But I think she knows that Dr. Grove's a bad guy, and I think she's like, well, not
Yeah.
how I would have done it, but
And with Garth, as we've been talking, he's become a little bit more interesting for me because I just keep seeing different pieces of him, which is kind of like in Handmaid's Tale with
with Nick.
Nick. Yeah, thank you. You
Mhm.
knew exactly where I was going with
Yep.
that.
Yep.
With Nick, right? Because although Nick was, with Gilead, but then he would teeter the other way, where I feel like Garth is more Mayday, but he has to do what things are dictating him to do to keep his cover.
Mhm.
But then it's hard too because he does have feelings and he does want um, to protect Mayday. And he definitely does because otherwise he would have sided with his father. And he said, no, my father was on the wrong side here. So I
Mhm.
truly believe that he is on the right side. He just has to maintain that cover, which is hard, which is what he's trying to tell Daisy to do,
Mhm.
right? And I was surprised Daisy told him, "Oh, Daisy, don't tell him." But I think she probably had to let it out too. And she's like, "I got to protect these girls. No one
Yeah.
else is going to do it. I got to do it while I'm here."
Cause,
Um,
cause I feel like for her, even though like Garth doesn't really have like a ton of power, she knows that he's being promoted to being a commander. He's the only person that she really knows. I feel like maybe she's hoping that, I mean, obviously we don't have to worry about it anymore, but maybe she's like, well, if I tell him, maybe it'll be like a new regime or something of like the commanders and they won't stand for that kind of stuff in
yeah,
like the long run. But
yeah,
Becca took care of that for us, so.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And Commander McKenzie, it's still hard to say where he leaning toward. I mean, he is protecting his daughter, but I don't know. What else did you think, or what else did you see, or who else stood out to you?
I really liked the opening, like how it opened, because it opened up with the Pearl Girls. They were mopping up blood from
What
some
was
sort of
that?
pun. Probably a salvaging. I bet you they took a pound of flesh for something else.
Uh,
Um, but at the very end, though, like not the very end, but like towards the end, the water in the bathtub kind of like and mimics the water um from like the mop buckets.
mm,
And you talked about this like
yeah,
a little bit earlier, but like as they're doing it, like Aunt Esty is literally preaching to them about the holy justice of an eye for an eye, which is just bonkers. Because like the state of Gilead or the country of Gilead or whatever, they use their theology to justify its own like the practices. They are savage, but they are a
mm,
state sanctioned kind of violence. And what's kind of ironic to me is that we talked about this like a little bit earlier, but how like Becca takes a sermon like that, like really
Right.
literally.
Mm-hmm.
She fills the bathtub with her own father's blood and like enacting the like eye for an eye. Just like, the ants taught her and all thanks to
Yeah.
Gilead. But there was a little bit of like a tiny bit of humor in this episode, I thought, because I loved when Shu told Jehoshaphat to sketch them, it'll last
Yes.
longer.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, I love that. I really love Shu. I hope she doesn't turn out to be like some, I don't know what.
I know, right?
I
I
really
know.
like her though.
Yeah.
I want to get to know like her family more because her
I know we don't
like
see them at all.
not really. And I just the eyes. Why are they so creepy? And I was which so I think I don't know, at some point in the episode they talk about how Commander Weston like owns the eyes or is in charge of the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Got me thinking, do you think Agnes will try and convince Commander Weston to give her friend like some leniency and maybe not do like as harsh of a punishment since he's kind of like in charge of everything? She'll use her fiance powers to say like,
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't know though. I don't know.
she
Will
could become like
she?
a Martha or something in like in their house or
Well,
something.
I okay, so I am questioning if those are really the eyes because we think it's the eyes because that's what Agnes says. You called the eyes, and I thought, doctor. And I just assumed it's the eyes because I thought, oh, they're all coming up, and she's screaming. Becca's screaming, Agnes, 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 and like screaming bloody murder. And we see Agnes panic, and I'm like, oh my God, they're doing something horrible to her. What are they going to do? They're going to go kill her. But after giving it some thought, first of all, I rewatched it. These bodies were feminine like,
Hmm.
they were thin. So that's not the eyes. The eyes are men. So it made me feel like they could have been women. And if they're women, they could have been ants. Because the only reason I'm leaning this way is because I believe maybe in the books that Becca might eventually become an ant instead. And maybe even a Martha. I'm not sure. But another important point is she could be fruitful. She has a period. So why would
Hmm.
you want to kill a girl who could give birth? They could make her a
I
handmaid.
would say a handmaid.
So there are so many other things. So maybe they just rip the status she has and give her another one. And maybe they call it like, okay, even because she can still give birth. So we don't want to get rid of her,
Hmm.
but we have to punish her in a way. So, but at first I thought they were just going to plain kill her when they were taking her off. Cause I was thinking,
Yeah.
oh my God, they're going to kill her and she's going to die some horrible death or do something horrible. So,
I definitely think the people who took her were definitely women for sure because they were way too like they
yeah.
had boobs like you could kind of see the outline.
I
And I
didn't see
feel like
that part, but yeah.
but I feel like that doesn't mean that they're not part of the eyes. Like they could be like they have a team of ants or something that are they can like deploy them or something.
Mm,
I don't know.
yeah.
I'm
I don't,
hoping that they that it's Mayday and they're gonna like take her back to Canada or something like that.
yeah.
It'd be cool. 'Cause I just don't want her to get in trouble.
I know. I know, but she does need something. Something needs to happen. But you know what I mean? This world is crazy though, right? We can't put I'm going to hold that thought and we're going to talk about it when we get to our question of the day. But I would first love to know what character stood out to you in this episode.
Oh, Becca. My heart just broke for her this entire episode. And like my heart like I said, I need to come up with like a different phrase, but when she and Agnes both realized that the eyes were coming for her, like the emotion on her face and the panic and just all of it. And then her
Yeah.
reaction to her dad felt very real.
Yeah.
Like she wasn't dramatic or explosive. She just kind of like ambled around the house and she seemed like very much like emotionally shattered. They're so young and my heart feels for all of them. But yeah, oh poor Becca.
I know. This episode I always want to highlight the other characters
Mhm.
because I think they play such an important part. But I mean, both Daisy and Agnes did phenomenal work in this episode, and it's so hard not to praise them or
Mhm.
give them that credit because for Daisy to give that performance, her as an actor giving the performance of her character was just incredible. And I
Mhm.
just thought it was so good. I love her because I think she's so strong. And even though she may act sometimes impulsively, it's because she's good. It's
Mhm.
because she's protecting. And then with Agnes, it's the same thing. Hers is a quieter bravery. So she's braver, but in much quieter way. And the fact that she defended Daisy to Becca, her best friend, but then tried to protect Becca in a certain way, and then realizing, what that happened. I just think that, all in all, they cast the most perfect two girls. I saw a clip with Lucy Halliday. She has an accent, but it's somewhat minimal.
Yeah, she is from Paisley, Scotland, United Kingdom.
Scotland.
Yeah, she's Scottish.
Yeah. So I knew that there was I knew it wasn't you know, a British accent. I knew it was something, but it was like not really heavy, but it was there. I'm like, oh my gosh, I had no idea she's
I have
Scottish.
to
And
look it up.
now it makes it perfect sense, right? Because of her look. And when she was talking, I mean, she was so pretty, such a pretty young woman. Just her hair, and she had makeup on, and just her talking about her role. And about her telling Shu. That was
Mhm.
what she was talking about when she had to tell Shu about, um, yeah, the birds and the bees and all of that. So,
Swim up.
yeah, swim up. She was talking about that role. And so I was listening to that clip of her talking. So I'm like, oh my God, she has an accent. So that was very cool to learn that too. But phenomenal actresses. All right, we are circling back to when does protecting someone cross the line? What do you think, Sam?
I think for me, it's probably whenever you're making a lot of choices for the person that you're trying to protect. Because I feel like we saw that happen in like real time in the show, that like they all had really good intentions, which can still cause harm whenever protection turns into control and secrecy. And I feel like they weren't, I don't mean control in like the typical sense, but just trying to make it so like the other person doesn't have to worry about it kind of thing. Because I feel like the four of them or the five of them or whatever could have come up with a better plan.
Okay, I'm going to answer this question, but I want to ask you one other question because when you said the five of them, it something clicked in my brain. Okay, this is what clicked in my brain. There was a moment where they brought the five girls into the room and they said, and they talked about gossip. And I was wondering, why did they bring those five girls? Like, I don't understand what the aunt's intention was. It was Hulda, Shunammite, was it Becca?
Hmm.
And
Agnes and
Daisy, and
Daisy.
yeah, why
Hmm.
I always thought it was so curious why they brought those five girls.
Probably so in an earlier episode, like very early on, like in season or episodes like one or two or something, they talk about how they don't like the girls to form groups. And I feel like over the last couple
Mm,
of weeks or however long we've been in the
yeah,
show, they have
yeah,
noticed that those five girls are
yeah,
like really close.
yeah. You're probably right. You're right. Not probably. You are right.
Eh,
Thank you for
yeah.
answering that question for me. All right. So back to when does protecting someone cross the line? Well,
Hmm.
in real life or regular life, I would say, when it harms somebody else, right? When you can protect somebody, but I mean, you have to be careful when it's going to injure someone else physically, especially physically. I mean, could be
Hmm.
emotionally too. But I feel like in Gilead, those lines are so blurred.
Hmm.
So, and because if if you don't protect yourself, they have so much control, they can harm you. And so like
Hmm.
there's no rules. Like you have um no agency, no nothing. You just exist and have to be what they want you to be. So I think it's really blurry in this world. And so, yes, like we saw Becca kill her dad, but maybe it wouldn't have the same effect in, I mean, it could be more severe or might be
Hmm.
less severe. That's the whole thing. We
They're
never know.
backwards.
Yeah, their rules are weird. And it's like things like this could keep going on. They said, oh, we thought it was gossip. So they weren't dealing with it. So that means they already knew about it and they were
Hmm.
shoving it under the rug. So if Daisy hadn't done what she did, what do you think? It still would have been shoved under the rug. So it takes an act of her doing this, which is seems not right, but how else is anything ever going to change?
Yeah, and I
So
feel like maybe like Agnes, if she marries Commander Weston and does all of that, maybe then she can like have the power to do something. But that's like years down the line. Like there's no way her husband of a week or whatever is going to be like, "Yeah, let me just investigate the dentist because my wife, has said this." I don't think he'd do
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Um and so I think like it would have taken like a lot more time. So as much as I don't like her choice, like to act, I feel like I don't blame her either
yeah.
because like
And
they're harming her friends.
also who's to say that Dr. Grove, the the pain and the suffering, the heartbreak that he's causing people wouldn't go further,
Mhm.
right? So he could end up even doing more damage than he's already doing to people.
Yep.
So I that's why I'm like, well, so I feel like Daisy had to act, um or else,
Yeah.
even though we feel like, oh, you shouldn't lie to enact a change, but I don't know,
I guess
you know.
see I'm thinking of it from like our world where like if you
Right.
lie about being assaulted that
Exactly.
harms the other chances of other people, but this
Exactly.
world doesn't make any sense. So
Exactly. That no, I agree with you.
yeah,
Totally.
it's bonkers. Like I don't
Yeah.
know. Obviously, like we're not in that yet, but I feel like it really hard to figure out like how to navigate that world.
Exactly. It is. It is. That's why I said it's so layered. Everything's
Mhm.
not cut. Everything. And just like our worlds with The Walking Dead
Mhm.
and everything else that we live in a dystopian world, the rules are not the same. Our group in The Walking Dead, Rick Grimes and all his people, they have to do stuff that is tough that they would never really do in the real world. And it's because things have shifted and changed. And so that's what's happened here. I also want to pose to our friends out there, if you have an answer to our question, when does protecting someone cross the line? We would love to hear from you. You can comment wherever you're listening or watching us on YouTube in the comments. You can also go to our website at screensinfocus.com and get to all of our social media and get there and leave us a response. Or you can call us, and that number is 669-223-8542. That phone number is in our show notes. Sam, before I get what you're hoping for in the finale, I'm trying to think of what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to say what we were just talking about, Daisy saying something that isn't true. It also reminded me of the series Tell Me Lies. Have you seen Tell Me
Oh,
Lies?
yes. That show is crazy. I love it so much.
Right? So she lied to protect,
Pippa.
yeah, but it backfired on her and came back really bad. Well, used as blackmail, I guess, in her part. But when this happened, it reminded me of that. So
Yeah.
another series to watch. That's crazy. Um, all
Stephen
right.
DeMarco.
Yeah. So what are you looking forward to in the finale?
Oh, I'm very curious are we going to see what happens to Becca? Are we going to find out what happens? Or is that going to be like a season two thing? Will there be any weddings? Will we get any more hints about what what on
Go ahead.
what on Este's deal is?
Yeah.
She's the OG Pearl girl. I feel like her like bowing, not bowing, but her like praying in front of Daisy was wild. I feel like maybe I try to listen to what she says because I feel like they're throwing out hints to her about stuff. Like the woman in the coffee shop like the whole time is obviously going to like take her, and she
Yeah.
goes like, "Oh, tomorrow's gonna be like a fine like May Day," and Daisy's like,
Yeah.
"It's March," and then it
Yeah.
clicked, and I was like, "Oh, so they're gonna do things." So now I'm trying to like pay attention to like Aunt Esty and what comes out of her mouth,
Yeah.
because it maybe it's like a hint that she's like a handler or something. So I feel like you'd want to have people in like every like branch of Gilead.
Exactly.
Mm,
Yeah. So true. Okay, what do I want? I mean, there's only
hmm
one episode. How are you going to wrap up everything? Will they have a wedding? I don't even know. That's like an awfully short time, but who knows how they'll speed up whatever has happened, right?
hmm
I hope we get to see where Becca is at. I really hope we get something. There's going to be movement and it's going to leave us hanging. So, are they going to find out something about Daisy? Yeah, is
Oh.
yeah, are we going to find out who the handler is for Garth? So I hope we find out that. I hope we find out Becca. I hope we find out Garth's handler. I hope we find out that Aunt Esty is involved in Mayday. I hope we see movement with Agnes, and like you said, maybe they will get married. And I hope we find out something about Aunt Lydia too. I'm just
hmm
hoping they give us more pieces for season 2, and I hope that season 2 comes out, and I hope it's not far away.
I agree. I'm like, I hate when like a show ends because I'm like, well, just why aren't there more? Like, I can't there be season two
I
already?
know, I know. I hate it. It's been so good. All
hmm
right, friends out there, this is a wrap up of episode 9. Please come back for the finale where we're going to break it down. We're so excited for it, but we still have TV and movie recommendations for you. Sam, tell us what you're watching.
So I've started to watch on Apple TV Plus, the TV show Servant. It is so good,
Love it.
just so good. And then this week was also the finale for The Boys, like the series finale.
Yeah.
I really, I mean, I enjoyed the finale. I know people had problems with it. I know it's controversial, but I thought it was a fine finale for a show that, I've enjoyed.
I
Um,
I haven't seen this last season,
mhm.
but I was going to make it a point to go watch just the finale to see what happens. And then if I want to go back, I watch a
Yeah,
few more of the episodes because sometimes that series is just too much for me, but I do want to see what happens. So I'm going
I
to
will say it's not as bad, like because we also had a problem with like
yeah.
it towards the end. I was like, this is too much like real life. I don't really want to be thinking about this, and it's not as bad. I think it
Yeah.
was good, but
Yeah.
and then for movies, there's a documentary. So it's like a series. It's called like Untold, and this one's Untold UK. It's the Jamie Vardy episode. He's just like a footballer, and crazy stuff happens, and it's just really enjoyable. I highly recommend that. And it's like a whole series. It's not just like sports. They do like an Astro World, like the
Uh,
tragedy that happened in I think what 2020. And so it's like things that don't really warrant like a full documentary, even though I feel like the Astro World one should have it like a multi-parter. You get like an hour and a half of like an episode, and it's just pretty good. And they cover like interesting things because they can do that with just one episode.
nice.
hmm
Okay, I do want to say before I give you my TV movie recommendations that I have heard other people watch The Crash and talk about The Crash after you had talked about it because you saw it initially. I think
hmm
the first weekend it was out, and yeah, different people are like, "Did you watch a crash?" and "Did you watch a crash?" and this happened. I'm like, "Oh my god!" So many people are watching that particular documentary on Netflix that you had already recommended.
And I bet you the same people are also they're going down rabbit holes because I've watched other
Probably, I think
episodes,
they
I've looked
are.
on Reddit. There was a woman this morning on TikTok and Instagram who was in jail with Mackenzie, like
Oh my
saying
gosh,
like all
yeah.
this stuff. Um,
I mean, it's become a topic like we're driving,
yeah,
and then
yep,
they're like, "Oh, do you really think they drove down the route? And how do you veer off a car? And how could someone do that? Well, what? I mean, it was just like I've been hearing debates in real
yeah.
time, okay, about like what has happened. So, anyone interested in that, go check that out. But what I'm watching, so I started watching The Burrows on Netflix, and this is from the Duffer Brothers, who did Stranger Things, or executive producers of The Burrows. And I've only watched a few episodes, but it's good. It's a widower who moves to a desert retirement community, and he quickly uncovers a sinister and dangerous secret lurking beneath. And it's sci-fi, but it's not really sci-fi. It's like regular life, and then there's these touches of sci-fi. Have you seen this yet,
No,
Pam? Yeah,
but it's on my list
yeah.
to watch.
So it's not like heavily sci-fi yet, just so you know, last few episodes. It's just that you see moments of it. And Alfred Molina is the lead in this, and Gina Davis is in it, and Alfre Woodard is in it, and so many more other people are in it. And it's interesting because it gives you, even though I think it's set in current time, the Duffer Brothers, and I know they're only executive producers, but there is a feel or a quality to their work. And I don't know if they had their hand in this, but it has a feeling to it. So when you see it, I'm curious to know if you feel that also. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I like it, whatever that is. So, and also, Survivor 50, I told you I watched Survivor. Well, it had its finale. It has been one of the best seasons in a long, long time. So if
Ooh.
anybody hasn't tuned into Survivor, go watch Survivor 50. It's so good. It's very
50?
good. Yes, it's
That
so
is
good. Yeah.
bonkers. I remember like watching the OG with my parents.
Yeah,
Like,
I
when did
know.
that come out? I'm curious.
Probably like 25 years ago, probably.
Yeah, first season of Survivor. 2000. So it's been on for 26
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
That's bonks. Like,
I know.
aren't they running out of spots to like plot people?
Yeah,
You
well,
know?
the last where so it's become a little bit stagnant the last
Okay.
like 5 years or whatever it is, because they
Mm.
keep going to Fiji only. So I think they have their
Oh,
reoccurring place, and I'm like, this isn't
yeah.
like it used to be. But I think because it was Survivor 50, you brought in all these existing survivors, and it was considered like the fans episodes, of the fans got to vote, and
Yeah.
I voted too, on things you wanted to see, and whoever got the most votes, that's how they went. And nobody knew until you were in it to see what the result was. So,
Oh, that's fun.
and sometimes Jeff would just say, okay, the fans voted between this and this, and then you see all the survivors like waiting to see which one do we have to do, and then
Yeah.
he would say the fans voted for this, and they're like, yay or nay. Right? It's like, do we love this or not love this? Anyway, it's good. And I had told you last week that Dutton Ranch was so
Hmm.
good. Okay, I the next episode, it's like so good. I recommend this. I recommend it to you, Sam. I recommend it to anybody. Go check out Dutton Ranch. I am loving it. I also told you I was going to watch a documentary,
Hmm.
and I did watch Marty, Life is Short on Netflix. It's only like 90 minutes. And Marty Short is, it's all about, he's such a great person. Like he's such full of joy and laughter, but he's had heartbreak too. He had been with his wife for 30 years, and she died of cancer. And that's sad that he had the heartbreak. And just recently his adopted daughter passed away. And I just think, it's sad because you see both parts. But what I love is, to Marty and all his friends, this is a star-studded cast because he is friends with a lot of famous people. They adore him, and their kids adore him. Like, kids go over to the house and they're like, we want to hang out with Marty because he's funny. And they show him
Oh,
like joking around with them and being these characters. And a lot of it is his home videos, which play a big part in this. And he reminded me of all the characters he used to be. I forgot. I forgot. Like, he was Ed Grimley, this man child that's hilarious, and Jiminy Glick, who
hmm.
interviews famous people. I was dying watching it. Like, I'm like, Jiminy Glick is hilarious. It's so funny. And then Frank Egelhofer in Father of the Bride.
Never seen that.
Oh, it's
Don't
he's
hate me.
so funny. It's okay. It's okay, but it's funny. And Three Amigos is one of my favorite comedies. And that's where he first started, one of his first movies. And then currently Only Murders in the Building. Love that series. And he's hilarious in it still. So if you enjoy Martin Short at all, or if you just want to laugh and learn about somebody, go check out Marty, Life is Short on Netflix. All right. If you want more reviews, please go to Screens in Focus TikTok or YouTube. Review everything there. Sam, as always, thank you for your recommendations and your insights. Thank you so much. I love you being here.
Thank you so much. I love being here. It's always a fun time. And you make me think about stuff. So I love that.
I know. It's always such a good time. We love it when you all join us just in this conversation because we hope you have a good time too. And if you do, please share this podcast with a friend. We would love that. And please follow Screens in Focus at screensinfocus.com. And remember to keep watching, keep exploring, and keep those screens in focus. We will see you next time. Bye.